archangels and angelic beings. So differentiating between them and ascended masters and their roles as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Before you enjoy the video, if you want to purchase some of my never before released meditations, click on the pinned comment below.
Sure. Okay, so archangels are different than angels. So angels are regular angel. No such thing as a regular angel, but right. But archangel and a non-archangel, angels they're more maintenance entities. So in other words, they help maintain the structure they help maintain the multiversal structure. So in other words, they prevent glitches in the matrix. How's that? Let's try to keep it short and sweet. They prevent glitches in the matrix. Okay. So that's really what angels do. Archangels are totally different. So the archangels also come from the higher selves that also produce the ascended masters. They are extremely, extremely powerful beings. Archangel Michael or Archangel Uriel. And by the way, Archangel Uriel comes from Master R. So Archangel Uriel is actually an incarnation of Saint Germain, or from the higher self that is Master R. So archangels they play a very specific role in that they represent the embodiment of the highest potential or the highest realization of certain attributes. So, and we can think of Archangel Michael as the fiercest, most powerful warrior that has ever existed. And by the way, Archangel Michael is actually the voice that created the three major Abrahamic religions. That's who Moses was talking to, by the way, when he got the 10 Commandments. He was actually talking to Archangel Michael. So, and Archangel Uriel is also extremely powerful. So they're an embodiment. There's something that we can look to, and they're it for what it is that they do, if that makes sense. And those beings also, once they are that thing, it's not that same soul that then comes back as something else. So Archangel Uriel remains Archangel Uriel. Archangel Michael remains Archangel Michael, even though the higher self that produced them is still producing other incarnations, if that makes sense. But they are the grand protectors, as a way to look at things. They are the grand protectors of not just humanity, of the collective consciousness itself.
Interesting. With collective consciousness itself then, and we got these grand protectors and it's almost like they're outside of reality, tweaking the dials to maintain homeostasis or get the systems more and more in order, the people, as we ascend. Then what is that actually? How do we define reality then? So is everything just an illusion? You know, if this is actually happening, because, 9 out of 10 people who stop the street, it's like, no, I've only got this physical body, mate. What are you talking about? This is all just fluff, But when you start to experience that frequency and that power, there's nothing comes close to it.
Yeah, I mean, what we're seeing too, Guy, is all the various levels of sentience that have incarnated into human form or alien form. There's various levels. So, I mean, clearly, we meet someone and we can, tell immediately, wow, this person is very wise, very loving, very powerful. And then we meet someone else and, nothing like that, right? Okay, and that's fine, right? So there's all these different various levels. So some of these various levels, some of these highly sentient beings, they're well aware that they're not the body. They're well aware of that. They know that. And they don't operate as if personhood is who and what they are. They realize it's a temporary experience. And then they operate that way. They operate through the I am, through their level of love and wisdom, whose subsets are their talents and abilities, which is the God force within us all. That's what we are. To be made in God's image is to be the sentience and the energy. We are sentience given energy to create, same as God. That's what it means to be in God's image. It has nothing to do with a suit. So the more sentient we are, the more that we come to realize and we have these experiences that we're not the body-mind complex. Well, another aspect or soul that's been projected here into a human form or alien form might not be operating at the same depth of love and wisdom and hasn't come to these realizations while they're down here They so identified themselves with the suit that they don't even desire to see past it or to move past it. And that's totally okay. It always has to have a balance without question. But our God created through variance. So in other words, what does that mean? It means that no two souls are the same. Everyone is a different level of sentience. And even the higher selves that our God created, it didn't create any two higher selves are the same. And that's why we have higher selves that project pieces of itself that are here as a rock or a mineral, or a higher self that projects pieces of itself that's a plant or an insect, or a genre of higher selves that project pieces of itself that come here as animal within an animal form. And then we have human and alien. So we have all these different levels. So eventually everybody will be starving and will require these kind of teachings. Eventually, all of them will. But right now, there's a certain percentage, as you know, are ravenous because they're ready. And there's also a certain percentage that's like, that stuff is nonsense. If I can't touch it, taste it, hear it, smell it, it ain't real. That's okay. The first thing you ask me, Guy, about what, is any of this real? So I like to say that nothing is real except our experience of it is. Right? So everything, this is hard for the finite mind, right? But everything is imagination. That's all it is. We imagine everything into existence. Everything is imagination. And in that sense, the only thing that is real is the self, with the capital S, the God within us all, which is actually creating all of these experiences so it can see itself in the act of creation, and therefore it can experience, learn, and evolve itself through playtime, because it's all imagination.
Yeah. It's the same here with the Aboriginal indigenous culture. They have dream time. They spend more time in dream time than reality per se. But and that's what they say. It's all imagination.
Yeah.
It's all imagination. Where do you feel then with the intent is going for humanity then? If we got people behind the scenes or beings behind the scenes guiding us to, where is it guiding us to? What is this intent behind it all, do you feel?
Okay, so let me give some context to that. So it's a deep question. I want to give the best answer that I can give you. I would say that in order for evolution to take place, there has to be what I call evolutionary tension. Okay, but how is a diamond formed, right? A diamond is simply a piece of coal that's responded well to pressure. Right? That's what it is. Okay, so our evolution is simply that. It's just how do we respond to the evolutionary tension that's put upon us. So we have evolutionary tension. You could call these the bad guys if you want. Just, we're incredibly simplifying it. And there's no such thing as good or bad. They're just playing a role of providing the evolutionary tension, right? So they're pushing down on humanity and on other species. They're pushing down, right? And then we have all this assistance that's not only these advanced beings that are incarnate, these more evolved beings that are incarnate. We also have all the disincarnate beings that are also helping. So we got this going on, and that never changes, by the way. That absolutely never changes. Now, the point of this and this is for us to go within and experience and realize more of the self-realization, right? To go within and experience more of the self. It's for the self, the one self, the multidimensional one self that's here. It's all God, for it to know itself and all its infinite potential. And it does that through its own challenges. Consciousness gives itself challenges so it can see itself in the act of overcoming it, which is really what evolution is that. And in order for us to go within, we have to be challenged. Otherwise, we'd all be on the couch, eating Cheetos or, whatever, right? So we have to give our health challenge, all these different challenges, right? So we got this going on. That's never going to change. It's all to know the potential. It's all to know the self-realization. and the infinite, the literally infinite potential that we all possess. And we only have that through our own evolutionary tension that we sign up for so we can evolve our own consciousness.
Wow. And do you feel things are heightening at the moment in this time of history right now? Like it's a special time to be on the planet? Because I don't know if what's going on in my own personal evolution journey is coincidental to the things that are being spoken about of what's happening right now, this time in history, or it is actually influenced by what is going on right now. Does that make sense? That I'm in this rising tide, so I've decided to just, let go of the anchor and just flow with it and see what happens, basically.
Yeah,
I'm always fascinated by these things.
Yeah, there's no such thing as coincidences, right? There's no such thing. It's right. So we're never victims or suffer. The only thing we ever suffer is our own lack of perspective, right? So we call, lucky, that's a coincidence. No such thing. No such thing. Everything is happening for us, for the evolution of our own consciousness, individually and collectively. Everything, every moment is actually happening for us, even when this stuff is happening. It's happening for us to evolve. No, it's not a coincidence at all. You're one of the more advanced souls that comes here to wake themselves up, and then you could be a teacher for many, which is exactly what you're doing. I mean, you're literally doing it right now. You've been doing it for years. I mean, so you are part of this wave of these more advanced beings that came here to be an embodiment of what it's like to live in a more higher frequency way, in a more expansive way, a more loving way, a more kind way, a more compassionate way, a more empowering way. It's not a coincidence at all, my friend, in any way, shape, or form. And they go hand in hand. It's not one creates this and this creates that. They both create each other and they both need each other. Like inhaling and exhaling is one thing. They can't be separate. So it's all working together as one, without a doubt. And there are so many it's amazing. This is, to me, the most dynamic and amazing time to have ever been on this planet, because these cycles of consciousness, the being known as Sri Yukteswar, who's El Morya, an ascended master, who was the guru to Paramahansa Yogananda, he wrote a book. Boy, is it a tough read, but he bought a book called the Holy Science. I mean, it's brutal. So he wrote a book called The Holy Science, and he talks about yugas. Now, yugas are these cycles of, I think it's roughly 26,200 years.
Yeah.
So we go through, okay. Now, I'll say this, right? Forget time, because time doesn't exist, right? It's a unit of measure. It doesn't actually tangibly exist. Time is not part of what is. Okay. So if we can think of the yuga, forget that. Just think of here comes another analogy. Just think of a flower, right? Starts off in the ground, starts to come up, begins to bloom, and then it totally blooms, right? Full open flower, full bloom, excuse me. And then it goes back and that whole process starts to go back down and it dies. Okay. That's what consciousness does. It's the cyclical nature of full bloom and then all the way back down and then full bloom. Now, because we've done this so much that it's speeding up like crazy. So now we're doing it faster and faster and faster. And that's actually what we're seeing. We're seeing us go through another one of these cycles, and it's almost like we're doing it in fast forward because we've done it so much. And so this is, to me, that's part of why I'm here. This is one of the most important, if not the most important time in the history of humanity, is to be here right now. And so it's all part of this. And that never stops, as either weird or annoying or unusual as that seems. This cycle, this, and then this, and then this, and then that, that's never going to stop. It's never going to stop. It'll just do that in different ways, in different frequencies, in different realms, all the same participants, by the way, over and over and over again. But we are at this point, Guy, where the blooming is happening so fast because we've done this so much that the evolutionary tension is having to be put in overdrive to try to tamp down this bloom that they can't stop. And because the bloom is happening so quick, they're trying everything to hold it down. And that pressure, the evolutionary tension, actually only speeds up the blooming. So if we, from a very detached perspective, if we looked at that, we would actually say that the more pressure that is put upon us, the faster we actually wake up.
I hope you enjoyed the video. Now, if you are desirous of more of the real you and less of your conditioned, agitated mind, if you know that you can create a life that you're not leading right now, but you know you can, check out my meditation masterclass. It's pinned in the comments below.